Good Thursday morning, everybody. I'm so excited that you are all here because what a great topic that we have to talk about today. And so, good job getting through your own self-sabotage and showing up for yourself today. I'm so happy that you are here. So, my name is Ann Washburn, and I am a mentor, a trainer. I'm an ex-engineer, and I am a body language expert. And I am bringing all of those skills here this morning on Thursday, April 18th, 2024, so that we can have the chance to understand why we self-sabotage, how we self-sabotage, and most importantly, how to interrupt the self-sabotage. So my question for all of you this morning, oh, I love seeing where everybody is joining me from this morning. I love that you're putting that in the chat. And I have a question for you. And to answer it, I want you to find somewhere on your screen, there is a button called Raise the Hand. And your Raise the Hand button is going to be one of the ways that we can interact with each other today. There's 3 ways that we can interact. And one of those ways is that Raise the Hand button. So the question for you, now that you found that button, the question for you is, who has ever experienced self-sabotage? Raise your hand for me. Raise your hand, use that raise the hand button. Let's see if anybody has recognized self-sabotage in their life. Oh, look at that, a ton of hands. So yeah, that's one of the things that we as humans do, is we have a lot of self-sabotage, and probably more than we realize. If you read, I put a little story out on social media and I emailed it out that I was talking about the different flavors of self-sabotage, because we have psychological sabotage. That's that sabotage that gets us in our own heads. And so I'm going to, in the chat, because the chat is the second way that you and I can interact today. In the chat, I want you to put a number 1 if you've ever experienced psychological self-sabotage. So psychological self-sabotage is going to be things like our fears, our worries, our negative self-talk, our, let's see if I can, oh, I'll share the screen here in a minute. But it's going to be that everything that has to do with our anxiety, our stress, our value issues. Do any of you have worry about if you're valuable or not, or trying to do enough things to be valuable? It's also holding on to guilt is an indicator of psychological self-sabotage. Not willing to be uncomfortable and wanting to stay in your comfort zone. Those are all psychological self-sabotage. Okay, so there's a few number 1s in our chat. Awesome. Okay, so then the next kind of self-sabotage that we can experience in our life is going to be what I've labeled interpersonal self-sabotage. So this is that self-sabotage that we enroll other people in, or we use other people for this self-sabotage. So for this one, Joanne, I can loan some of my self-sabotage out if somebody needs some. I love that. That's awesome. Daniel says almost every week, right? I would say, yeah, maybe even almost every day for some of us. And probably more than we realize. So interpersonal self-sabotage. This is the one that, oh, so I want you to put a number 2 in the chat if you have ever experienced interpersonal self-sabotage. So this is worrying about what other people think about us. This is going for a goal, but then being afraid of what the naysayers are going to say to us. It's going to be seeking validation from others, blaming, pointing the finger, justifications, comparisons, assumptions, judgments, wanting to control other people. How about this one? Have you ever felt like, oh, I just need to do it myself or it won't get done right? Have anybody experienced that one? So, oh yeah, I love it. Cherie's like, too, way too often. I love it. Daniel, number 2, how can you not? I love it. Some other ones there are getting just mean. Have you ever experienced a mean person or a grumpy person when they're interacting, or a micromanaging one? Ooh, that's been me in the past for sure. And if I'm not paying attention, it can be me today. Okay. So then our third flavor of self-sabotage. So this is a 3-flavor ice cream store today. And number 3 is our behavioral. Yeah, Brian's already on it. And I want you to drop a number 3 in the chat if you've experienced behavioral self-sabotage. So this is going to be procrastination, technology binging. Does that ever happen? Oh, in our world? Excuses, refusing or avoiding help. Okay. Distractions. That is actually a behavioral self-sabotage. Repeated or chronic lateness, that you're late all the time. I call this one avoidance of reality. That means putting on our blinders and pretending that something's not there. So a good example of that would be perhaps if I know I haven't been eating very well for the last couple of weeks, and I avoid getting on the scales. I avoid the reality, okay? That's an avoidance of reality. Or maybe I miss or cancel appointments a lot. Those can be behavioral self-sabotage. Oh, look at all these tons of 1s, 2s, and 3s. Procrastinating is my favorite. I get so much done, right? Yep, I love procrastinating too, but spell check doesn't think it's a word. But I am intending to use it until the dictionary agrees with me. Yep, avoiding help, got to do it myself. I eat when I'm triggered. Yep. All that sugar, the negative, the junk food, the junk behaviors, all of those things are behavioral self-sabotage. Okay, so now that we know that we are on the same page, we are all people who have experienced self-sabotage, and we know 2 of the ways that we get to interact today. We can raise our hand, we can use the chat, and then the third way, because this is a hot seat webinar, the third way that we can interact is some of you will have the chance to come up on stage on Zoom with me today, and I'm going to help you unravel your self-sabotage, okay? Kelly says she's having trouble with sound. Can you guys give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat if you can hear me or can't hear me very well? I want to make sure that our sound is good. Wayne? Okay, we're good. Fantastic. So the third way, okay, a lot of thumbs up. Okay, cool. So the third way that we can interact today is, whoops, I will push this button so that I can share with you. To be on stage, what do you need to do to be on stage? To be on stage, you need to fill out the mentoring agreement, because when you come on stage, I am a ninja body language expert mentor. That's who I am. And I am not going to stop being that person when you come up on stage. So that means I will watch you, and I will listen to you, and I will care about you, okay? I will watch you, I will listen to you, and I will care about you. All 3 of them. But I need to know that you also agree with that. So we have a mentoring agreement. So you can go ahead of time. If you're somebody who thinks you might want to raise your hand when it's time to get picked to come up on stage, or maybe you don't know yet. Before it's time to raise your hand, you do want to have gone to 3ke.to/onstage and filled out the mentoring agreement. Wayne, could you put that in the chat so people could click on it if they want to, and they can find that really easily? Because then when it's time to come up on stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to lower all the hands, and then I'm going to say, all right, if you would like to come on stage, raise your hand. Then we're going to look, Wayne, who are the fabulous Wayne Tretzky in the back room today, is going to look at all the people who raised their hands, all the names, and he's going to compare it to the list of people who have filled out the mentoring agreement. And if you raised your hand and you filled out the mentoring agreement, then he's going to send me a message and say, hey, this person is the next one to come up on stage. So you'll want to check the background of your video because you will turn your video on, okay? You'll turn your video and your microphone on. And if you can, try to be standing up so that you're, this says feet, but you don't really need your feet. So I would just say, I'm going to even change it right here in the moment so that your hands are visible. So like this, okay? So if your feet are visible, fantastic, but not totally necessary, okay? But if you can have a nice view like this, then you and I will have a fantastic experience together on stage. Is that cool? So 3 ways of interaction: raise your hand, the chat, and your chance to come on stage. So just curious, by a raise of hands, who thinks they might want to come up on stage and work with me today? Let me put my raise the hand over here. And don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to. I'm just curious who thinks they might want to. Okay, there are some hands. Awesome. Well, that's good because we have a hot seat and nobody wants to come on stage, and then I'll just teach you tons of stuff. But either way, it's going to be a fantastic way to get new perspective. That's what I want for everybody, is to have a new perspective. So I would suggest that you have a place to take notes and a writing utensil or a way to take those notes. Because today you will learn, either if you come on stage or if you watch as other people come up on stage, you're going to learn something about self-sabotage. Cool? Okay, so why would you want to do this? Great question. I'm so glad you asked. And to answer that, let me explain where self-sabotage comes from. So all of us as human beings, all of us have a subconscious program. We have a subconscious portion of our brain and we have a conscious portion of our brain. And a subconscious portion of our brain really bad wants things to feel safe, familiar, and in control. Does anybody ever like that feeling of being safe and things are familiar and you're in control? Right? Raise your hand if you like that feeling. I like that feeling. I will raise my hand. I like it when things are familiar and they feel safe and they're in control. But the reality is we live life in the unknown. We absolutely do. There is no day that we are guaranteed that everything will work out the way we have pre-planned. There's no day that we're guaranteed that when we go to bed tonight, we'll still be on the planet. There's actually very few guarantees. Well, one of the few guarantees is we won't get out of this planet alive, okay? That's one of the main guarantees of this planet. So with that being said, our subconscious is there to help us to find places where we feel safe, familiar, and in control in an environment where things are not always that way. They're not. In our first world problems, things are pretty safe. They can stay pretty familiar, and we can be in control of a lot of the things in our life. Okay? Is that true? So that being said, the problem is growth cannot happen in a state of safe, familiar, and in control. In order to grow, we have to get outside of our comfort zone. So if you look at this as your comfort zone, we need to be able to exit that comfort zone in order to be able to grow, okay? So here's growth right out here. Here's growth. And in order to get to growth, I have to exit the comfort zone. But as soon as I do, my subconscious says, oh, no, 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 wait. I don't want growth. I want to feel safe, familiar, and in control. That's what I want. So have you ever set a goal? Well, let's just start with that question. Who here has goals? Raise your hand for me because I want to know who has goals. Brian does, Sheila, Sherry, Shree. Oh, just about everybody has goals. Awesome. And are those goals things that you have are familiar and safe and in control? Or are those goals something that are more unfamiliar, that you haven't experienced yet, that you are unfamiliar with how to accomplish them? Because we should have, well, now I'm jumping ahead. When I mentor people, I often encourage them to have some of both kinds of goals. Have some of those that feel very manageable, but have a goal too that feels like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I want to keep focusing on it until I figure it out. Have some of both kinds of goals because it helps us to be able to grow. Okay. So when my subconscious gets the message that I am leaving my comfort zone, my subconscious wants to help me stay safe. So it uses self-sabotage as a way to nudge me back into my comfort zone. Self-sabotage, our brain really isn't doing things to ruin our goals. It doesn't work that way. Our brain, our subconscious is trying to do things to keep us safe. It doesn't understand that outside of the comfort zone is where those growth goals are going to happen, where I'm going to achieve my goals, live my dreams, and find my purpose is out here. My subconscious doesn't understand that. My subconscious understands, feels safe, familiar, and in control. Okay? So what does your subconscious want? Say it out loud for me. It wants to feel safe, familiar, and in control. But in order to grow, I've got to exit that feeling. So just long enough to acquire a new comfort zone. I can get a whole new comfort zone, and it can be bigger and funner, like moving from a small house to a bigger house, if I can make it through the self-sabotage that my brain will use to try to pull me back to my comfort zone. So what that looks like is this. And it takes some of my, no, that the rest of that's good. So what that looks like is all of these different kinds of self-sabotage are your brain trying to help you. It's your brain saying, oh, let's not be unsafe. Let's not be unfamiliar. Let's not get out of control. It's okay. Rush back to your comfort zone. So there's two parts of your brain. There's the subconscious, but then there's the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, it's that modern part of your brain. It wants the growth. It wants to see what's possible. It wants to do something new. And new can be very fun. That's also wired into your brain. So I just love that we're on the planet of opposites and that your brain is wired for those opposites. So there's a part of your brain that wants the growth, and there's a part of your brain that wants to stay safe. Not sure if my drive is mine or who I was told I am, so I look for danger as it looks for me. I love it, Daniel. Yeah, both, right, Sheila? Okay, so our brain wants both, but the question is, which one is going to win? Which one, at the end of the day, is my goal and my desire for that goal going to win? or is my subconscious desire for safety and familiar going to win? Which one is going to win? Well, here's a way that you can look at yourself, at your subconscious and how your subconscious works. So, everybody, ready? Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Now, tell yourself that it's okay. I can just keep holding my breath forever. What happens? We want to take a breath. We want to take a breath as soon as we say, oh, I can just hold my breath forever. But our subconscious will take over and cause me to start breathing again. Okay, so start breathing again. Nobody's still holding your breath, right? We are wired to go back to what is safe. We're wired to go back to what is safe until we take conscious control over it. So if we were in a swimming pool and we were underwater, would we want to hold our breath? Not a trick question, right? We would want to hold our breath. If we're underwater, it helps us to hold our breath. But if we're just saying, I don't need to breathe anymore. Here's another example. One time my husband decided that sleep was an addiction and that he didn't really need to sleep. This was a long time ago. He was kind of crazy back then. And so he went a week without sleeping because he's like, I'm going to prove that sleep is an addiction and I don't need sleep. Well, you can imagine how that went. At the end of that week, he was not doing very good and he needed sleep really bad. And he learned, and it caused him a little bit of health problems too. He learned that sleep is very necessary. So our subconscious is going to win if I don't take conscious control of the choices that I am making. Oh, I'm trying to jump ahead too quickly. So to answer the question, which one's going to win, the comfort zone or the growth zone? The answer is, if I don't take conscious management of the goal, the subconscious will be the bigger voice. The subconscious will be the bigger push in my life. And I will go back to my comfort zone if I don't know how to move towards my goals. Does that make sense, you guys? Does that make sense? So here's what I want you to know so far. Your subconscious cares about you. Your subconscious wants you to stay alive, familiar, and in control, okay? That's what feeling safe is. Your subconscious just wants you to stay alive. Your conscious mind wants the goal that you chose. Your conscious mind is interested in the goals. But in order to get to the goal that I've set, in order to achieve that goal, I've got to make it through the self-sabotage. And once I get through the self-sabotage, I'm going to have to make some changes, and then I will arrive at my goal. So getting to a goal requires leaving your comfort zone, making it through the self-sabotage, making adjustments, and then accomplishing the goal. Okay? So raise your hand. Raise your hand if you like your comfort zone. I'll raise my hand. Okay, now let me lower the hands. Raise your hand if you've experienced the self-sabotage zone. I have. Okay, now let me lower those hands. Now, raise your hand if you have a goal that you would like to accomplish. Okay, so these are the steps to get there. We got to get past the self-sabotage, learn something new, or adjust something in our life. Then we can accomplish the goal. Then we can move forward. So this is just like, I love this. Earl sent this to me recently. He said, Anne's breakthrough coaching is amazing. Anne has great coaching skills. She helped me to push through to achieve my goal of collecting and depositing $20,000 in 1 month in revenue by turning the right key in my mind for my situation. So let me tell you what was going on. So for Earl, where's my self-sabotage? Here we go. So for Earl, he had some hidden self-sabotage that was going on. And it had to do with a belief system and a program that he developed along his life. Because our subconscious holds on to programs that help to keep us safe. Your subconscious doesn't hold on to programs that are true. Your subconscious holds on to programs that help you stay safe. So maybe I should say that like 3 more times. Your subconscious doesn't hold on to programs that are true. Your subconscious holds on to things that will help you stay safe. So for example, I might have a program from when I was little that if I'm too happy, the people around me will get angry. So now being sad is a program that keeps me safe. Now, that's not good for my results. It's not good for my goals as an adult, but it kept me safe as a child. And if I keep that program with me as an adult, I'm going to keep self-sabotaging my goals. So for Earl, he was imagining this money coming into his business during the month, but he had a little hiccup of what it meant for that money to come in. And so we helped him with some imagery to be able to get past the self-sabotage so that he could make it through and accomplish that goal. Even though we checked in at halfway through the month, he wasn't sure it would happen. 3/4 of the way through the month, he still was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. Right up to the last day of the month, he finally made it happen because we adjusted some programming in the brain. So if you are here in your comfort zone, let's get a little person here. A little person. Here's a little person. So if you're over here, let's make person yellow. If you're over here in the comfort zone and you set a goal, so let's get a goal. And we'll make our goal green. Okay, and you set a goal here, your subconscious, and you start going for that goal and you repeatedly miss the goal. So you guys that said you have a goal, have you tried for this goal and failed in the past? Raise your hand for me if you've tried for this goal and you've failed in the past. All right, cool. So that goal that you've tried for and you failed and you're still trying for it, make sure you write that on your paper so that when you come up on stage, we can talk about that goal. Yeah, Brenda says it was really fun watching Earl reach that goal. I love that. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Brenda. Yes, adjust our programming. So right here, if I have tried for a goal and I have not gotten it in the past, then there's something in here that is keeping me from leaving my comfort zone. So I want to adjust this. If I adjust all my self-sabotage, then the next thing I have to do is acquire new skills or make adjustments. Because if nothing changes in my life, then I can't be at a new place, which is what my goal is. Make adjustments. There we go. In the moment, we can make adjustments. All right. So that's the purpose. That's what we're here. That's what's in it for you by being here today, by showing up. Because you guys, not everybody who registered for this webinar showed up today. That means that some people ran into some self-sabotage that pushed them back to their comfort zone, and they didn't even make it here today. So I want you to pat yourself on the back and say, yes, I made it through to this webinar today. Because the fact that you're here gives you a chance to learn about your self-sabotage so that you can accomplish this goal that matters to you. Cool? Sherry says, adjust my programming, please. I love it. All right, so in the chat for me, I want you to put some kind of emoji if you're somebody who is ready to get past some self-sabotage. So give me a thumbs up, give me a woot symbol, give me a smiley face. I just want to see who would like to get past their self-sabotage. April of 2024. I love it. I love it. So cool. Okay, look at all those smiley faces. Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited to see who's here this morning. There's a lot of names I recognize, and there's a lot of names I don't. Aw, I love that, Lillian. Lillian says, my sister passed away yesterday after much suffering, and listening to your teaching helps me to not fall apart. Aw, Lillian, here's some big hugs for you. Some big hugs. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome. Okay, cool. So it's time for us to make some changes. We want to make some changes, just like the people like Brenda and Earl, and I love this. Julie said, I love Kirk, I love Anne. They have changed my life, my habits, my negative thinking, my results, and my family. That's what we want to do, is we want to make adjustments so that we get to have more of our goals. And oh, I forgot to tell you this. Look at this secret right here, you guys. See this comfort zone? When I push through here and here and here, this big circle out here is my new comfort zone. And you know what that means? It means that your subconscious will now be helping you with the new comfort zone. You just got to teach your subconscious what you actually want. That's what we're here to do, is to teach our subconscious what it actually wants. So the types of self-sabotage: psychological, interpersonal, and behavioral. Those are the three kinds of self-sabotage that we could be running into. All right, so I think that's all the pieces I wanted to show you before we start having people come up on stage. So can I tell you really quick why I do this? Anybody curious? Anybody curious why I have a cloud on my ceiling, right? My daughter hung that there for April Fool's Day. So that's why I have a cloud looking at me. The reason I do this, you guys, is because the me who I was 15 years ago is very different from the me that is here today. And the biggest difference is I've spent 1.5 decades working on my own self-sabotage, understanding my own subconscious programming. I was very drawn to this world because 15 years ago, I was working in flight simulation and explosives as a mechanical engineer. And I still love engineering, but I take those problem-solving skills and I put them with people now. Because the hardest thing for me to solve, or the hardest problem I lived with 15 years ago, was me. I would wake up and I just couldn't look forward to things. I was so hard on myself. I just couldn't interact with people. I was always in trouble, and I just felt like the worst thing in my kid's life was me. And it was a very hard place to be. And so I worked super hard. The reason I became a body language expert is because I recognized really quickly the subconscious component of body language. Your subconscious sends messages out in your body language, and it's trying to validate the programs that are in your subconscious. So what I learned really quickly was that I was sending messages out to people based on the programs, the negative programs in my head about me. So I was sending messages out to people saying, I'm not very likable. And they would pick up on those messages and go and treat me like I wasn't very likable. So my programming would get validated, even though it wasn't true. Your programs get validated because your subconscious sends messages out in your body language, and then people treat you according to those messages. And if those messages are not interrupted, you will perpetually repeat the same kinds of patterns. You will perpetually repeat the same behaviors, the same psychological, interpersonal, and behavioral self-sabotage, because it supports your programs. And I was not okay with that. I wanted to upgrade my programming. And becoming a body language expert and using my body language skills helped me to interrupt those programs. So in order to do this today, in order for me to help you with what I've learned, I need you to know what it is that you want. What is the goal that you're headed towards? What is it that you want to accomplish next? Okay, let me share a new screen here. We need to know what you want. If we know what you want and we know where you're at, and then we can look at what's working and what's not working and why. So on your paper, I want you to draw a little stick figure of you, and I want you to draw a star over here and a wall in between you and the star, okay? This is your creation journey. Okay, I'm going to relabel this. This is your creation journey. Creation means making something new out of what is. That's creation. We're taking what we have and we're creating something new. So what is the new thing you want to create next? Write that over here, okay? What? And so what is it that you would like to accomplish by the end of this year or the end of this month, okay? One or the other. What is it you would like to accomplish by the end of this year or the end of this month? So it's April 18th, 2024. So in the next 2 weeks, you might have something you want to accomplish or something you want to accomplish by the end of 2024. Or you can, if you're having trouble figuring that out, then decide what is it you want to accomplish by the end of the 2020 decade. By the year 2030, what is it you want to accomplish? But have something written over here that you want to accomplish, okay? Then on this wall right here, this wall, this is what is between you and that goal. And a lot of that is going to be self-sabotage. So as you're looking at this goal, as you're looking at that goal, I want you to look at these self-sabotages that we can, I have slides for you here. So here's the psychological self-sabotage. Are you afraid of that goal? Is it uncomfortable? Are you having trouble picking a goal? If you can't even pick a goal, indecision, or there's too much anxiety or worry, then the psychological self-sabotage is getting you before you even pick the goal. Okay? So look at any of these, and any of these that are between you and that goal, write them on that wall. Write them on that wall right there. Okay? Then look at the interpersonal. Are there any of these? Do you get in fights with people? For me, 15 years ago, I always had people angry at me. And I was like, why am I always in trouble? Why are people always upset at me? I also was a big micromanager. I was a big micromanager. In fact, it was so bad. I couldn't handle not being in control. So I could not be the one that helped my kids learn how to drive. It had to be my husband because I could not let go of control of the driving. It was so funny that my kids, they were like, they always wanted me to be the one driving because they didn't want to deal with my comments or my stress when I wasn't the one driving. I didn't know how to let go of control. So, do you blame people for not getting your goal? Do you blame situations or circumstances or time or your past or anything? Do you hold grudges? Do you do a lot of comparison between you and other people going for the same kind of goal? Okay. So any of these that are between you and your goal, write them on the wall. Write them on your wall. These are the interpersonal ones. Okay, get those on the wall. Then, do you have any behavioral self-sabotage? Maybe you have a goal that you want to make a blog and you need to be writing. And instead of writing, you spend a lot of time just technology binging, maybe watching YouTube videos or working. You think that you're working, but you're not actually writing. You're just learning. You spend all your time learning, but not taking action. Or maybe distractions. You know that you should be doing something, but you get distracted really easily. Okay, so put any of these, or maybe you default to junk food. Does anybody do that one? Am I the only one? The sugary or the salty? It's like, yeah, let's just go get something to eat instead of getting our work done. Okay. Any of those that are between you and your goal, any of those, write them on your wall. Write them on your wall. Show the first one again. So there's the first one again, the psychological. I love that, Brian. The paradigm shift. Yep. Okay, so now you have you here, you have your goal here, and now you have just become more aware of what is between you and that goal. We need to be more aware in order to make a change. Okay, we got to be more aware. If we're not aware, how can we make anything different? That's the thing. Your subconscious doesn't behave off of choices. Your subconscious behaves off of programming. Your conscious mind is where the choices are. Your conscious mind is where you can make things different. So, for example, here, that's why I had this little thing here. Choice is a big override for self-sabotage. We need to be able to make choices. But in order to make a choice, those of you who have ever been in my mentoring, you know that the first step to change is awareness. We have to see what's going on in order to choose something different. So now that we have this goal over here, I want you to tell me in the chat a number. How many self-sabotages did you write on your wall? Put the number in the chat for me. Everybody put a number in. Nice. 4, 2, 6, 10, 9, 13, 5, 8, 7, 6, 5, 7. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So now, even if we did nothing else, the fact that you have awareness of what's between you and your goal means that you can make an adjustment. You can do something different. So now let's have some people come up on stage so that I can help you with what's between you and that goal. Would you like help? All right. So Let me lower all the hands. And then those of you who think you would like to come up on stage, just so you know, I'm super gentle. I'm not mean, and I care about you. Because remember what I already told you? I already told you that when you come up on stage, I'm going to watch you, I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to care about you. All three of those. Okay, so let me lower the hands. Wait, don't raise your hand again until I say, okay, Wayne, are you ready? And somebody here has just their phone number, so you'll need to put in the chat in the chat you can put to the host and panelists instead of to everyone. If you can tell us what your name is, that will be helpful. All right. If you would like to come up on stage, raise your hand so Wayne can check in and see if you've signed the agreement. Awesome. Very cool. All right. So as Wayne is getting those names for me, because he's got to go check the he's got to go check the agreements and make sure you've signed those. So thanks you guys for raising your hands. So I want you to know in the chat, if you have a question, you can go ahead and type your question to me as well. So as we go along, keep track of your questions. My goal is that we can go through at least 3 people today. To do that, that means we have a 15-minute time limit for each person that comes up on stage. So when you come up on stage, just know that 15 minutes is all the time we have. Now, I'm telling you that so that your subconscious is aware not to try to delay and beat around the bush, because that's one of the techniques our subconscious uses, is it delays and it plays with time. Your subconscious will play with time in ways that will keep you in your comfort zone. So let me give you an example. Have you ever had a choice or an opportunity that was set before you and you delayed deciding so long that it was no longer an option? That's one of the ways that your brain will play with you. That's one of the ways that your brain will play with time, is your subconscious part of your brain. Your subconscious is saying, you know what, I'll just dilly-dally around here or make distractions until the choice is gone, so I don't have to deal with that uncomfortable. All right, here's our first names. Our first people on stage are going to be Robert Carey. Robert Carey, you are first. Okay, I think I forgot to tell you something. When you are chosen, Wayne is going to change your status in the webinar. And for a second, it might feel like you leave the webinar and you come right back in. Don't panic. It's just how Zoom works. And then you will have to share your video and unmute yourself. So if Robert, if you can unmute yourself and share your video. Let's see. All right, Robert, can you start your video? Oh, Vicky says, one time I sat in the parking lot procrastinating going into an audition until the auditions were over, right? Yep, that is so your subconscious playing with time. All right, Robert, it looks like you unmuted, but I can't hear you and I can't see you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm getting a response that says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Wayne, can you help him with that? I am not.
Well,
Now he's gone. Okay. Everybody send good energy towards Robert's technology because sometimes technology tries to keep us in our comfort zone. Anybody experienced that one before? Ah, love it, Brian. Zoom is exhibiting behavioral resistance.
okay, hopefully you can still hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it still. So,
Well, that doesn't help us, does it?
I wonder if it's one of my settings on Zoom. No, I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Wayne's working on it in the background. Which means what, Wayne? Do we need to make him a co-host? Okay, try your video now.
Hey, something's happening.
Yay. Well, now I don't see your picture, but I don't see you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sorry, Ann.
That's okay.
This has got to be on my side, I'm sure.
Well, we had to change a setting, but now we should be able to see you. It says your video is going. Do you have your camera on?
I do.
And does the little light show that the camera's on?
Unfortunately, it does not.
Okay. How old is your version of Zoom?
It's maybe a week old at the most.
Okay. So you updated recently.
I do.
Nice. I'm not sure why because I can stop your video. Now you can start it again. It's something to do with your
Yeah.
video because your camera
Yeah.
is not turning on. So if you click on your video on Zoom, your
I,
video settings,
yeah.
your camera is not turning on. I wonder if you need to reboot.
Probably.
All right. So I'm going to go to the next person, Robert, and you see if you can get that working,
Okay.
and then we'll
Sure.
come back to you, okay?
All right. I'm going to reboot and I'll be right back on.
Okay. All right. Our next person on deck is Cherie Nilsson. Cherie Nilsson, you are up. We'll grant you some permissions. There she is. All right.
It's doing the same thing that he is saying. You cannot start your video because else has disabled it.
Okay, try again.
Okay.
She is. Yay! We can see her. Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll send those good vibes out to Robert and hopefully he will find out how his camera is working. Okay, Cherie. So tell me, welcome. Welcome to the hot seat. So why did you show up today? Tell us.
Okay, so I've been working on my own self-sabotage, and I'm just at a point where I can't see, I have an idea of what things are, but I can't see to write the steps down. And so I know what I know some of it and I don't know. And so I need to have somebody see what I can't see. That's
Nice.
why.
I love it. Well, I am a good person for that. So tell me about what the goal is and what you've worked on and what the stopper is.
Okay, so I'm currently writing a mom series, and I have changed it a few times to just hone in what I want to get across to the readers, because yes, it's going to have an appeal to like more of the fiction kind of writing, but it's going to be able to teach truth through it and how moms can have good attachment and stuff like that with their kids and stuff. So, getting through their own, the things that hold them back, right? Like that's going to be a big point of the series to really help moms move through motherhood is what I want to get through having both of those worlds together. So I'm writing
Both
it.
of what worlds? Motherhood and
So like the fictional side of an actual novel versus being
okay.
nonfiction. So
Okay.
I could totally go nonfiction, but I want to try to mesh the two
Okay.
in how I'm writing it. And so I've changed from going nonfiction to going fiction. And some of the mindsets I've had to go through is just a pervasive work. Like life is work and everything takes a long time, or life is really hard, and so you just have to grind or whatever. And that's not true. Like it can have this fictional fun side of creating things that, yes, it's from my personal experience, but I just get to have fun with the characters and I get to do this. And I'm finding that I'm like, where's this fun side? So I know that as I'm going to do this, um, I'm finding like my computer bombed on me. It won't even take a charge or anything. And so I'm trying to get my work, because it was online on a program online. And so I have to try to get my other computer to work. And it just wouldn't bring up the program yesterday when I'm trying to set myself up for success. I have a writing time and my husband has the kids and everything. But and so I find these little things that are hanging up. And so the goal is getting at least that first rough draft of the series done and kind of plotting out the series. And the things that I'm working on, if I understood right, was you wanted me to talk about the self-sabotage parts that I've worked on, or is it just the parts of what I've worked on with the goal more so? Which one?
So it's fine. I just needed you to talk so I could see what messages are coming out. So you said you're at a point where you can't see. What is it
Mhm.
that you can't see?
So I have a lot of feeling and a lot of understanding of what I want the series to be able to accomplish, but to be able to see the details to write it in a fiction story like way versus a telling nonfiction way, that is difficult. But I know it really doesn't need to be. I know it's in me to be able to do it. There's blocks. And so seeing, so like the chapters, how to see the chapters come together. Those parts are what I can't see for the goals. And then the little things that come up when I notice self-sabotage, I'm like, well, what do I need to do to
What
because I can tell it.
self-sabotage, what self-sabotage do you notice?
It has a lot to do with value. If, like, why put it together if others aren't going to see the value in it? I know it's valuable, but it's, anyway, other people.
What's the emotion?
I would say it's the value that I allow myself to have, because it really doesn't matter if they value it or not. It's my life, and I know that there was value there, and I believe I need to allow myself and help myself to just believe that for myself. Like, nobody else knows what I've gone through, and to try to make somebody do that doesn't make sense. So that they could understand, right? And so I want to be able to support myself that way, and I know I'm not there yet. And what do I need to do that for myself?
Okay, good job. Good job. So I'm going to go body language first, okay? So as I'm listening to you, and because you're letting people watch, I'm going to explain to people that are watching what I'm seeing, okay? So I'm watching as you're describing all of this. I'm watching everything you're doing with your hands, but I'm watching everything you're doing with your eyes and where you're looking for answers. And the thing is that you're looking up, you keep avoiding looking anywhere that's not up. Now, up means looking for answers outside of ourselves. It's not a problem to look up. But the problem, we need more words in English, but the problem that is there is that you're avoiding the other places. So as I listen to you, when you're looking for answers, you want to be able to look down and sideways and up and to the diagonals. You want to be able to look everywhere. But you were looking mostly up, which showed me that you were avoiding the real problem, the real hiccup, if you will. And the real hiccup, so that's why I went the way I did, went to the value, like you said. The value is definitely an important part. In fact, it's so important. I've spent the last 2 weeks in my breakthrough coaching addressing value and guilt, because guilt and value are very closely linked. When we hold on to guilt is a crazy, well, let me back up one more step. Everything on this planet has the possibility to be used for us or against us. Everything. We're on the planet of opposites. So guilt is one of those things that can be used for us or against us. Personal value can be used for us or against us. Everything can be used either way. And so 2 weeks ago, I just talked about guilt. This last Monday, all I talked about was value, personal value. Because personal value, when we are looking for our value from our accomplishments, this is what's tricky, is our subconscious wants to link our value to what we do, because that's where we distinguish ourselves from other people on the planet. That's where we separate ourselves and we say, well, I'm different from Cherie because Cherie has written a book and I haven't. So I compare myself and I try to say, this is where I end and where you start. Hi, cutie. You have great helpers. So cute. And so we are naturally wired to create these distinctions between ourselves and other people. And when we use that, can be used for us or against us. And the way it gets used against us is by saying, I'm not as good as because I haven't done this yet. And so now we start to believe that our value comes from what we've done. But value does not come from accomplishment. Value is God-given, which means the only thing we can do with value is accept it or reject it or receive it or reject it. I need more words. Let me find my slide here on that. But experiences need to be observed and not attached to our value. So the biggest thing, so value needs ownership. I can either own it or disown it, or accept it or reject it. Those are the only things I can do with my value. My experiences, I need to observe them and go through them without having them decide my value. It is an imposter or a falsehood when we start connecting the two. When I start saying that my value comes from how much I've accomplished. So my example on Monday was that if on the news, there's somebody who fell down a well, there's every few years, there's some emergency where somebody is trapped and all these rescuers come to help them, right? Have you ever seen something like that on the news, like maybe a natural disaster or somebody falls down a well or they get trapped in a mine? No time do the rescue workers show up on the scene and say, hey, can you send us your resume so we decide whether or not to rescue you? We don't do that. Why do we not do that?
Because they're man or woman, just like we are, and we hold them at that status.
And they're valuable because they are, not because of what they've done. So your disconnect, your separation that's happening between you and your goal is that you want the goal to give you value instead of spending time choosing into your value and then going for your goal. So if I share my screen, can you see it? Can you see that? Okay. So if I'm looking at this as a timeline, this is where I've been, this is what I'm doing, and this is where I'm headed. So for Sheree, she's had things happen in her past that have attacked her value. True?
Yeah.
Have there been naysayers in your past?
Yeah.
Have there been experiences that made you feel less than?
Yeah.
What else? What else has happened that's attacked your value?
Manipulation.
Manipulation. Good. Anything else?
Narcissism.
Okay. So you have a list of who's that have attacked your value.
Yeah.
And are you, how do I want to phrase this? Are you afraid that they're right?
I don't think so. I think I'm at a point that I know they're wrong.
But you can know
it's
here.
For show.
You can know here and not here.
Right. So it's like I know they're wrong, but I need to what I've been able to begin is what I know here to be expressed. So like I actually say something. when those behaviors start showing up, that I show up for myself, so
Okay.
that I don't let what they're saying in.
I'm going to argue that you have let what they say in, but you haven't known how to get it out.
Yeah.
So one of the things that needs to happen in the present in order to move there, so I have a slide for this. So we need self-sabotage antidotes. And your antidote that you need is speaking. Okay? But not to them. Because trying to convince somebody else means that you still haven't chosen into your value. So this isn't about, we can get confused that to have boundaries means that I have to stick up to myself to the person. But the reality is that when things get into us, they need to get a way out of us. And speaking is one of the ways that things can get out of us. And so if I have a conversation with them, but they're not there, but I let the
Right.
words pass through my vocal cords, and I tell them all the things that I should have said, wanted to say, wish I could have said, what I would say in the future. If I get all of those things out, it leaves room in me to choose my value. Because as long as those things are in you, there's not enough room
Right.
for you to choose your value. And so you're defaulting to the intellectual and you're trying to say, I know they're wrong, but you don't need to know they're wrong. You need to feel that you are okay. It doesn't need to be about them. It doesn't need to be, I know they're wrong.
Right.
It needs to be, I feel who I am. And right now there's not enough room in you to feel who you are. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so between you and that goal, there needs to be a lot of conversations with this list of who's that have eroded your value. So you put them on a list. Person 1, person 2, however many people there are, and you go through and have a conversation with each one, and you tell them why they don't get to decide your value. And you tell them, you apologize. You apologize for holding on to their opinions for so long.
Right.
And you say, I am so sorry that I've let you have the place in my life that you got to decide who I am. And I now realize it's my job to decide who I am, to receive who I am. Because remember, we get to own it or disown it, receive it or reject it. They don't get to, but because they have so much space inside of you, that's why you keep looking outside of you. You're looking outside for somebody who is going to override what the space they've taken inside of you. Does that make sense? Okay, so tell me what you're hearing from this.
That I get to journal conversations out to get those words out, because they will just leave, and then because there's space there, I'll be able to, what I would do is write who I am. That's just me. And I'd be putting in things from God too, because he'd be talking.
You can do that, but you do need to read it after you write it.
Probably multiple times.
Yeah, because just the writing for you, because you're a writer, so you default to writing. And so you need to do more of the speaking to get the self-sabotage out. The words, this needs to be spoken words.
So
you
what gives
write
you
it.
that clue?
What's that?
What gives you that clue? Because I I've had an inkling of what you're saying. Now that you've said it enough, I'm like, oh yeah, I did think that I needed to say it, but you're saying I don't need to say it to anybody. I just need to say it.
Yes,
right?
it just needs to be spoken out loud. It can be spoken out loud to a tree or to your steering wheel, or I've spoken a lot to the bathroom toilet and then flushed it so that I didn't feel like I kept all those words in the house. But it's watching how your eyes went and how your hands went is what I've been watching. And the fact that, and the other thing is that you do swallowing on certain words. And so watching that means they're not being let go of. They're being kept inside and they need to get out. Okay, did anybody learn anything from Cherie? Did anybody in the chat tell her if you learned something from her? Such cute helpers you've got there, Cherie. Okay, so you have some homework, okay? You've got some homework. Go get it done so that you have space to accomplish your goal. Because all those details that you're talking about, Shri, those need room. Details need room to be able to get inside of you. So what I've shown you here is how to create some room. So go make your list and then have a conversation. You can journal it with each person, but then say it out loud, because if you don't say it out loud, it doesn't flow. Our vocal cords are one of the things that flow energy out of us. And so writing's great, but you need to add the reading out loud of it. And then you can say more. You can read it out loud and then add things that come to you, okay? All right, awesome. Thank you for being on stage with us, Cherie. Very cool. All right, yep, lots of comments in the chat. Thank you for being with us today. All right, I think we have Robert back. Let's see.
When you're ready.
There he is. Yep, let me just does your video work now?
As soon as we can get, it should work now. I did test it. You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. So we got that, but I'm sure it'll work this time. There we go.
There he is.
And you want me to stand? Sorry for the lighting and the mess. We're in the middle of a move.
Yeah, where are you moving to?
Eastern Idaho. Oh, here, there. Maybe that's a little better.
Eastern Idaho, huh? So
Yeah.
you're going from Western Idaho to Eastern Idaho?
Correct.
Very cool. Okay, so what's your goal, Robert, that you're working on?
Well, I have several, but it's to start a farm. I'm not a farmer. And I'm nervous about it and scared, but that's okay. I've been scared before.
So what's the self-sabotage? You wrote 7 things.
So procrastination. Money is a challenge. House remodeling, that's more, has more to do with having so many other things that I'm working on, because I do a lot. I'm very, very busy. Fear, it's always there. Indecision, time management, and feeling inadequate. So I certainly am inadequate because I don't know anything about farming per se. I mean, I can grow a garden, but farming's going to take a lot more. And but
So what
I
are
think I found the right people to help me learn.
so what are you indecisive about?
Gosh, it was, do I make this move and go for it? Obviously, I'm in the middle of the change now, so that part of it has already been done. But that was tough to get through that, to decide, yep, we're going to make this move, do it.
So what are you avoiding? What needs to happen next?
Selling our house here in Nampa.
Okay, is it on the
So
market?
it will be soon. We're having to paint and do some fixes and just get everything moved out. Today's the move out day, and then we're going to stay and finish with the fixes, and just take the next step after that.
Okay, but what are you avoiding?
Right now, I'm not avoiding anything. I have been avoiding things. I mean, there are things that are holding me back that I need to get done. Um,
Like what?
and well, let's see. So there's some taxes things that I need to take care of from past years. Um, there's and that one's probably, that weighs a lot on me to try to get that done. There's there was some indecision about living so far away from grandkids because most of our kids and grandkids live in the Treasure Valley. That was a very difficult choice as well. We're just going to resolve it by deciding we're going to come back as much as possible. I don't know where to go from there.
So you have your left shoulder is doing some responsibility stuff
Ah,
as you're talking. And
awesome.
so you've got some weight, but you're also, as you described, so I wrote down, you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you said money, procrastination, distraction, fear, time, value, and indecision, where your 7,
Right.
self-sabotages. But as you're describing those, you talked about all of these little things that you're doing. So you're using lots of irons in the fire kind of a thing as a distraction
Very much so.
from not doing what you feel like you're supposed to do. So what's your why? Why are you supposed to become a farmer?
I guess it was a kind of a childhood goal from a long time ago. My grandfather mentioned that living on 80 acres, you could probably you could support your entire family. So we bought 160 acres, and we want to be able to grow clean food and help people with having clean food. We want clean food for family. Um, my wife and I are into a lot of healthy dieting and healthy foods. And we kind of want to bring that to the public as well. If we can, we hope so.
Okay, but that's your language that you keep using, is things like that. I'm not a farmer. I'm supposed to start a farm if we can. Where's there's a lot of non-committal language as you're
Huh?
still going towards this goal.
Interesting.
So that's why I'm asking what the why is, because if you're not really clear on the why, your subconscious is gonna win with the non-committal language so that you can do all this other stuff and feel busy while not actually accomplishing your goal.
That makes sense. We need to do a better job of writing all of this down. I don't think I've done a good job of that.
Okay, but what's your why?
I need to work on that. I don't think I have a very good why. or at least just listening to you, um, anger, frustration with things that are going on and have been going on. So that's kind of part of my why.
Okay, so anger and frustration are more important than the goal.
Yeah,
Well, as long as anger and frustration are more important than the goal, you're going to need lots of things to deal with in order to keep you busy.
I'm good at that, keeping myself busy.
Well, but that energy could be pointed towards your goal
Right.
instead of towards busyness.
True.
And so you've got some choices that need to be made, but right now you're not making the choices, because if you make the choices, then you'll have time to move forward. And your subconscious is more comfortable with the tons of minutia going on. It's like, yeah, I've got lots of things. I've got past taxes and this move, but the way you talk about it is like, well, we're trying to resolve, is it okay to live away from kids? Why would you even make that choice if you don't know why you're doing it?
Actually, I want to provide good food for my kids and my grandkids,
Okay.
and I feel like I can't really do that here. Um, there was we had looked for property for quite some time, and when
Is
we
that
finally
enough
found
of a
some,
why? The fact that you want to provide good food for them, is that enough of a why?
actually, yeah, it is, because
Okay.
I think there's a lot of polluted food out there.
Okay. So if that's the number one most important reason, then all the other things should not be at the top of your head.
Gotcha.
So so when we look at a goal, we want to, let me go to the screen again. When we're looking at this goal, we want all the steps that we're taking to be steps that move towards the goal. And so all these things that you have on your list that you have to get done, here, let's get some steps. There's a tennis shoe, okay? So we want steps that move me towards the goal. So all the things that are on your list that you need to get done that are weighing on your shoulders, you need a big long list of them. And you need to get clear on how getting each of those steps done leads towards the goal. So like you said, today's the move out day, but I've got the house that I need to work on and I got to sell the house, and your shoulders talking to me. And I'm like, okay. So if you can say, I'm selling the house because I'm providing food. I'm resolving the taxes because I'm providing food. I'm moving out of the house. And as you take each thing out of the house, I'm moving out of the house because I'm providing food. You want to connect every step you're taking to the goal that you're moving towards. The reason I'm doing this step is because it moves me to that goal. You want to get clear on this. Does that make sense, Robert?
It does. It does. A lot of the things, a few things, it's more releasing as well to help me accomplish the goal. Like back taxes and things like that. I mean, that's just one example, but there's some other things as well that I need to reduce or get off from my shoulders, because they do weigh on me.
So Cherie needed a list of the who's that are on her value. You need a list of what's on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Of what I am carrying, because your subconscious is letting you carry things so that it has a way to keep you from moving forward too fast.
That makes sense. I
'Cause
feel that often.
that list that's sitting on your shoulders keeps you here. I
Yeah.
don't have to move forward as long as I have lots of things I can say that I'm doing. Just out of curiosity in the chat, how many people let having lots of things to do keep you from your goal? Oh, a few people, right? And so as long as having lots to do is keeping you from your goal, you might also need a list that says, here's all the things on my shoulders. And then, like you, to your point, Robert, you might need to release some of them, but you also need to be clear while you're releasing them how that helps you take a step towards your goal. Because these steps towards your goal, you want your subconscious to know that it's safe to take steps towards your goal.
I like that thought of I am going to do this so that I can move forward with my goal. And I think I need to write it down just like that, so that it's actually in my mind.
Yeah, that's what your vision board is for, is to keep you focused on everything you do. We can't live life in the future or in the past. We can only live life today. But in order to live life today, you need to know what today is giving you. And so that's why you pick the why for your future, so you can say today is giving. Let me say it this way. Time is an exchange, just like money. So when you bought your 160 acres, you exchanged money for the land. Well, we exchange every 24 hours for something towards what we choose. So I can spend 24 hours of today angry about the past. Or I can spend 24 hours today getting things off my docket so I can move towards my goal. Or I can spend 24 hours today feeling picked on. Whatever I choose, I can use the 24 hours for. So if you look at it and say, today I'm moving out of the house because that is a step towards my goal, now your brain is going to like your goal more, and it's going to like moving out of the house more.
Yep. Very true.
So you need a list and you need steps. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so what are you going to do?
I'm going to make a list of the things that are on my shoulders. And I think I need to prioritize which ones go first.
Sure. And if that works, awesome. Fantastic, do it. But if you find yourself making a list and then not getting through them because you prioritized and the hardest one is the top priority, and so you just don't do any of them, then go to the easiest one. Start some momentum by getting the easiest ones done. Because that's one thing our subconscious will do, is it'll keep us stuck by saying, oh yeah, let's prioritize what's on my list. And then the hardest thing is number one, and then I don't do anything on the list.
Makes sense. Getting out of debt is the same way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all this is energetical debt.
I never looked at it that way, but it is.
Yeah. And so yes, you need to do like Shri and choose into your value and not let all the stuff that you're doing decide your value. And you also need a list of keeping it straight of how everything is moving towards providing food. I am providing food. And quit saying things. Sorry, Robert, I'm in a little tough love here.
That's okay.
Quit saying things like, I'm not a farmer. What the heck? When you bought the 160 acres, you became a farmer. So
That's true.
own it. Quit saying you're not a farmer. Maybe you have some things to learn. So what? You are now a farmer. Own it. Right. Quit letting your subconscious push things away by claiming things that you don't want.
I will claim I am a farmer. I like that. That
Okay.
sounds a lot more fun. Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, that's part of our theme today is we need to access more of the fun in life. So tell me what you learned today.
I need to I need to accept what I have chosen to do and move forward with that. I need to list out the things that are really weighing on my shoulders and start with the small one and move forward from that. Put that energy into the next one once I complete it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you and I should talk again. It might be about time that you and I work together again because you need some help staying on track, my dear.
Yeah, probably. Definitely. You helped me last time. I mean, I was able to get retired like I am today. So
Yeah.
because of your help, thank you very much.
It's cool when we can actually get on the path to what we actually want. But our subconscious is sneaky and tries to help us think that what we want isn't what we want. It's so funny. We're humans are funny. Okay, Robert, make your list.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shri is clapping for you. I love it.
I'll take a look at the chats here in a moment.
Yeah, Sheila says, I loved his big smile when he said, I am a farmer. Yes, you are. Own it. Grow food.
Sounds great.
Sell
Thank
your
you.
house. Have fun. Enjoy, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, Lillian. Lillian's taking notes for everybody today. All right, Robert, thank you for being here today. Thank you for making it through your technology trickery. Was
It
awesome.
was. Thank you.
You bet. There we go. Okay. So we have, oh, yes, we have time for one more person. So let's lower the hands and give you one more chance. If you guys would like to come on stage now that you've seen that I'm not really very mean, raise your hand if you would like to come on stage and Wayne will check. Wayne will check and make sure that you've signed the waiver, and then we will have our next person come up on stage. All right. So as Wayne's checking that, let me just show you guys what we're doing here. So notice that I talked to Shri about this, that self-sabotage antidotes we might need. So with her, we talked about the spoken word, but also her feeling of value. Okay. Both of those are antidotes to our self-sabotage. And then for Robert, we were talking about his imagery. Own the fact that you're a farmer. Make every step line up with your why. Keep that imagery in your head. That's going to help him have the antidote to his self-sabotage. For me, I used a lot of body language in the beginning too, because I realized that I was constantly doing closed off body language. Anything that shrinks us down and closes us off is a self-protective body language. But what it's protecting, we think it's protecting us, but as an adult, most of the time what it's protecting is our negative programming. It's not protecting us per se. It's not keeping us safe. It's protecting our programming. Excuse me. And so I had to learn to have more neutral body language. So that meant instead of folding my arms and self-protecting all the time, which folding your arms can mean other things too, but for me, whenever I was worried about how people perceived me, I would close down. I would shrink my shoulders. This is exaggerated, but that's the messages I was sending. So I had to practice, even in front of a mirror, you can practice unfolding your arms, putting your hands down to your side. Look in the mirror. I dare you to try this, you guys. Look in the mirror and Get neutral position. So that means weight on both legs, hands open, not fists, arms gently down to your side, shoulders pulled down away from your ears. You can roll them back, chin up a little bit, get a neutral stance, and notice how it feels. It'll probably be a little uncomfortable at first, but then do this. Look yourself in the eye in the mirror and use your name and say, I am Anne, and I am amazing. And then watch for any wiggles in your body language. It's really fun, you guys. When I first tried to do that, I wiggled everywhere. I couldn't keep eye contact with myself. I couldn't say I am amazing without going, oh, that just feels weird. And that body language can help you to, sorry, I was sharing my screen, so hopefully you saw all that. So feet neutral, shoulders neutral, hands neutral, chin up, look yourself in the eye, and then say, I am, put your name in there, and I am amazing. And then watch for any wiggles. Just watch. And for me, I did that so many times until I could finally stand still instead of trying to disconnect from myself. And that helps us to choose into our value. And Robert and Sheree and anybody else who wants it, I have opened up on my calendar times that I can talk over the next few days. And here is the link to my calendar right here. You can, because I would love to talk to you more and help you move forward more. Right? Thank you, Lillian, for writing that down. And so if you're interested in my personal mentoring or in my breakthrough coaching, so breakthrough coaching is my group mentoring. And the breakthrough coaching is for people like you, people who want to get past their own self-sabotage, people who want to create. Because remember, creation is making something new out of what you already have, But your subconscious is going to try to keep you organized in the way you already are. So if the way you already are is to get in arguments with people or to have to feel less than or to not accomplish your goal, your subconscious is going to try to keep you organized like that. But if you want to rise above that, if you want to create something new out of what you already have, then it's time to do something different. And that's what breakthrough coaching is for. Every Monday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I teach for 2 hours and you can ask questions and we interact to help you get past your own self-sabotage. So like I said, this past week, we talked all about value, how to own your value. I draw slides like this. So this slide we used on Monday that our value, isn't this a cute railroad track I built? That our value, in order to have balance in our life, we need to have 1 foot on our value and 1 foot on our experiences. You can't put them together. You can't put your experiences and value on the same track. They need to be on 2 separate tracks because value needs ownership. Experiences need observation. My value is separate. It goes over here. I am enough. I am good. I am smart. I am valuable. This is who I am. I can only own it or disown it, accept it or reject it. And I went through and explained this in a way that you can take it away and use it. I give actionable action steps every single week, right? Every week in breakthrough coaching is truly life-changing for me. Oh, I love that, Deb. And Robert, yep. Robert and I worked together before I made the breakthrough coaching program. Robert, you and I ought to talk about what you could benefit from there. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Julie says, I love breakthrough coaching. Mondays are my favorite days, right? Aw, thanks, you guys. Yeah. So if you don't believe me, look at the chat. There's people there that will tell you about it. But this right here, the breakthrough coaching, we keep the recording of each class in your member library. So people who signed up for breakthrough coaching today, you could go watch that webinar that I did on Monday as a bonus. So breakthrough coaching is for people who want to create something new out of what they already have. And if you're not going to do it, if not now, when are you going to do it? Are you going to wait until you have a bigger why? Are you going to wait until you have life shoves things in your face that says, okay, now I have to have help? Or are you going to choose to create now? Because I'll tell you what, my life has been so much better since I chose to be a creator in my life. Instead of just waiting for life to change, I get to be the advocate and the instigator. That's the word. The instigator of the changes in my life. It is powerful. So, and that's what breakthrough coaching is for. It's to live the best version of you now, not later. I mean, later too, but why wait for later? And so breakthrough coaching is a class that is for 14 weeks. Every week for 14 weeks, you get to join me from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Besides that, we also have pre-recorded modules that you get to work through that help you organize yourself towards your goals. And that's powerful. People who do my personal mentoring, I have them be part of the breakthrough coaching while they're personal mentoring with me because it's that powerful. And that way they get to learn the things at breakthrough coaching, and then I get to build on them in their personal mentoring appointments. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, book a call with me. I would love to talk to all of you. And the thing is, my calendar won't allow you to book for today. But if you book for another day and you want to talk to me today, just private message me in the chat here, and I will reach out to you after this webinar and you and I can talk today, okay? Because I would love to talk to you today. So go click on this. Oh, last thing. Oh, Brenda, I love that. My life has been so much better since Anne became my mentor. Aw, I love that. Because that's what I've chosen to dedicate my body language skills to, is helping people access their amazingness. Because that's what I can see in people, is how amazing they are. I want to help them see it too. Okay. Oh, I love that. Deb says personal mentoring is what I wish I had years ago. So here's what I would suggest you do. Even if you're not sure if you want to book a call with me, go to this link and fill out the questions. You don't have to push send until the very end, but pick a time, fill out the questions, because I am a question ninja. I know how to ask really good questions. And the thing is that when you answer really good questions, it grows you. So even if you didn't push send at the end, going through answering the questions that I ask on there would be a mentoring appointment for you. So if you want a free mentoring appointment with Anne, go to this link, fill out the questions, and then at the end, you can push send. And then you and I will get on the phone call and we'll talk. Cool? I think it would be awesome. I would love to talk to all of you. All right, so the next person on deck is Brenda Simmons. Brenda Simmons, you are next. Okay, so go in here, book a call with me, you guys. Book a call. I think I have like 10 slots available, and I would love to talk to at least 10 people, So please go book those phone calls, and let's you and I have a chance to talk this week. All right,
I'm on. I need my video to be enabled.
Yeah. Okay, try it now, Brenda.
Okay. There we go.
There she is.
Yes.
We got this. All right, let's see. Now I just got to push a few more buttons. Hang on. Finding one more button here.
You're good.
Well, we will leave it like this for right now. Okay, cool, Brenda. What have you learned today?
So many good things. I really loved how you worked on the why, and I've realized that I need to define my why a little bit better. And I just sat down and did it, and so I'm super excited about that. I have a lot of blocks. I wrote down 10, and so yeah, there's that too. So there's a lot there that I would like to clear up, and yeah. So what else do you want me to share?
So what's your goal?
Okay, so last August, I finished my certification to be a life coach. And so that's something that I'm super passionate about, but I haven't done anything with it because I keep finding excuses why I can't. And like from the indecision of, well, I don't know what kind of life coach I want to be, and yet this whole time I have this burning desire inside of me to help women and to help them just see their value and understand that their purpose is in their story. I actually started a podcast, which I've grown to absolutely love. And that's been so amazing to do that. I've really, really enjoyed it. And yet I just feel so blocked actually starting the actual coaching part. I want to be able to advertise on my podcast and stuff like that. But I'm like, well, but I don't know what I'm doing. So it's always, what am I doing? And so that's a huge block for me. And so I just would really like to clear that way so that I can move forward with it.
That's funny that you keep saying that. What am I doing? So what is it? So if I gave you a magic wand and you got to choose what you were doing, what would it be?
I would love to do in-person classes, workshops, and retreats and stuff like that, as well as online. I want my oyster to be the world, so to speak. And I know that's broad, but my number one strength is inclusion, and so I've really struggled narrowing down my target audience. In fact, I'm revamping that right now because I thought I had it, but it's just still too broad. And I would love to do the one-on-one, and which is interesting because I've waffled on that. And I think the waffling comes from just not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, knowledgeable enough. And
that
which is also
to be a theme
because,
today.
Yeah.
That seems to be a theme today on value. Just by show of hands, who else needs to own their own value? Brenda raised both her hands. Oh, there's a few people. Yeah. That we just don't know that's available to us. And so we keep looking outside of ourselves for that value. But value is not outside of us. Sure, our resume is outside of us, but our resume is not our value. And we have trouble with that. So, so you like to hear yourself talk. So you're like the opposite of like Cherie and Robert. They both want to write, but you like to hear yourself talk. And I can relate to that. I like to hear myself talk. I didn't in the beginning. In fact, I hated recordings in the beginning when I first started, and doing a TED Talk almost caused me to come unglued, because to do a recording that gets millions of views that you have no control over because you can't do anything with it once it's published by TED, that was really hard. But the thing is, the trickery that our subconscious can use against us is that talking doesn't feel super permanent. And so, and working with people one-on-one can feel more permanent and more. I have you done your Clifton Strengths Finders test?
Oh yeah.
And so what's in your top 5?
So inclusion is number 1, arranger is number 2, woo is number 3, harmony is number 4, and empathy is 5.
Okay. And so that woo is why you like to hear yourself talk, because it's really fun to get to hear your other people see your point of view. That's what that is, winning others over, for people on here that don't know what that means. That's what woo means. It's an acronym, WOO, winning others over. And so the thing is so when I do personal mentoring, I have people take their Clifton Strengths Finders test so that I can show them not so that the test gets to decide who they are, but so that we can know what the strengths and the kryptonite is that we're dealing with on a daily basis. And so you're right on that includer. Yes, the Clifton Strengths Finders test, Sheree. So the includer, in fact, I mentor several people who are becoming mentors or coaches or whatever we want to call them nowadays. And that can be one of the things that gets us in trouble, is that when we're an includer, we worry about leaving people out.
All the time.
And we worry that if we leave somebody out, that we are less than. Because that's one of the things our strengths can do, is cause us to think that's where our value comes from. It's not our value, it's just our lens that we see the world through. And if we're not clear on the lens, and another thing that's important to know is that the likelihood of interacting with somebody else that has the same strengths as you is 1 in 33 million people. And so nobody's going to see the world through the same lens that you're seeing the world. And then if you compound that with the fact that the lens that you're looking at the world through has its kryptonite and its strengths, now you are truly unique. You're truly unique. But now we want to say, well, wait a second. If I really want to get to tell people and have them hear my point of view, that's where the podcast is really enjoyable. But now if it's one-on-one, oh my gosh, what if they don't agree with me? Or what if they have a different perspective? Or what if I can't help them? Or what if comes back to, I'm letting my value be decided by that one-on-one. So yes, you definitely need to understand your why better, because the choosing the audience, I wonder if I could find really quick. One of the people I'm mentoring, she had that same issue. She's like, well, what if I can't find the ideal clients? What if I don't know who my ideal clients are? And I helped her with that. And then the very next day she messaged me and she's like, oh my gosh, I got 2 new clients, because we opened up the disconnect between who she wanted to help and why she wanted that to be who she helps. So why the one-on-one, Brenda? Why do you want to do the one-on-one?
So I'm just going to tell you, the thing that first popped through my mind just now is because I feel like I should. I feel like it's expected, but I also feel like, so I love networking and I love the one-to-ones. I love it so much. I love getting to know people and seeing what makes them tick. And if I can connect them to somebody else, then I love doing that. And honestly, if I can do that in a coaching situation too, I think I'd be really good at it too. I just get really blocked up with, is that who I am?
What does that mean? Is that who I am? Who are you, Brenda?
I'm amazing. That's who I am. And I really believe that here. I am a person who loves other people, and I really want to see them succeed, and I really want them to see their value.
So you're going there, but I'm going to interrupt you because the question was, right before the question was, but is that who I am? When you said because what I heard was that you want to be a networking coach. You don't have to be a one-on-one coach, be a networking coach. Be somebody who sets up networks. Be somebody who has a networking group where they help each other find answers, but you don't have to be the answer. But then you said, but is that who I am? But then I asked who you are, and you're like, well, amazing and all of this. And I'm like, but that piece, why is that not who you are? Why is being a networker, because an includer as a number one strength, why would you not be a networker coach? Why is that not who you are? What does that mean?
I've never even heard of that. I don't know what a networking coach does.
Okay, but we can talk about that. But
Okay.
that question, but is that who I am? What does
Mm-hmm.
it mean? So where's the disconnect? Because I ask you who you are, and you're like, I'm all these things. But
Mm-hmm.
then it started with the question, but is that who I am? So what are you looking for who you are?
Validation.
That's one of those tricky things.
Mm-hmm.
Subconscious brings that to us, is it's like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
need validation. And that's one of your kryptonites, Brenda. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna lay it out there. It's one of your kryptonites because and it comes with that woo. It comes with that
Mm-hmm.
because it's like woo enjoys getting to win others over to their point of view. I have a child that's this way. Woo is his number one. Um, and he will debate with you on something that doesn't make any sense just to have a chance to get to win you over to a different perspective. He'll tell you that the sky is purple all day long, and he'll convince you why. And it's like, oh my gosh. And so you got to recognize the kryptonite of that can also feel like you're being validated when somebody hears you. So you need a declaration. You need to remind yourself that people agreeing with me doesn't change me, or people hearing me doesn't change me. And you can work on that wording, but you need a declaration along that line so that you disconnect your value from being heard and understood by other people. Being heard and understood is a skill, not a validation.
Mm. Yeah.
And see, the thing is in your body language, as I'm listening to you, you have a lot of body language that points to that foundation of who you are.
Yeah.
And so it's showing that you're just like that right there. When you want to hold your hands just like that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like it's like, okay, I'm going to hold my value in place. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that body language move is. And so using that kind of language in your head, use your woo superpower to woo yourself. Use it to convince yourself and win yourself over to the point of view that of understanding the disconnect, that your value is owned, that talking to people is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't need the validation from people as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Totally makes sense.
Because another super important, and this is what I talked about 2 weeks ago when I talked about guilt and breakthrough coaching, those words, shoulds, supposed tos, why didn't I even challenge them to go make tally marks for a whole day of how many times does guilt come into your life? Because guilt is not meant to be held on to. And so supposed tos and shoulds and why didn't I and I feel so bad and if I don't, all of those are indicators that we're using guilt as a long-term motivator. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, guilt is one of those that can be used against us very quickly when we hold on to it. Guilt is meant to cause a change in behavior and then let go of it. It's supposed to be a quick release. Guilt is, oh, change my behavior, let go. Change my behavior, let go. Change my behavior, let go. But when it becomes, like you said, it'll become emotional. We'll soak in it. I'm supposed to be a coach. And it's like, well, then choose it and then let go. Don't hold on to the guilt of I'm supposed to until I get there. Instead, say, okay, yeah, I agree. I'm going to choose that. And then let go of the guilt and take action towards what you want.
I like that. I do a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and the rest of the churchy people on the planet, we forget how we're supposed to use that. Guilt can be a superpower, but we use it as a kryptonite all day long.
Yeah.
And so you guys that are on here, I dare you to take a day's worth of tallies of how many times guilt is soaking, how many times you're soaking in guilt. Because guilt long-term becomes a huge self-sabotage. So don't supposed to your way into being a mentor, Brenda. Choose it. Say, okay, this seems like a good idea. And I choose it. Now I'm going to take action instead of, oh, I'm going to feel bad until I become it. How is that helping anybody? Right? And yeah, there are lots of different kinds of coaches, Brenda. And so finding your flavor and then I'll just go a little deep on this one. One of the challenges you're going to have that you're going to need to work really hard on is that in order to reach more people, you will have to let go of what it means about you.
What do you mean by that?
So you having a successful podcast can't mean anything about you. You helping people in one-on-one mentoring appointments can't mean anything about you. It has to mean things about them. As long as it means about you, you will be stuck as in your path. And how would I know this? Because I had to go through that. Because when I first started mentoring and training and coaching people, it was so about me. And I could never work with more than one or two people at a time. That's all I had. For several years, I had one or two clients at a time. And it wasn't until I figured out that it's not about me that I could open up and mentor hundreds at a time. I've worked with thousands of people on stage in front of live audiences like this now. The first time I did it, it shut me down. It took me a week to recover because, and now it's like, no, it's just part of my day. But it took me a week to recover because it was such an emotional exercise or marathon. There's the word. Such an emotional marathon because it was all about me. How they responded was about me. Whether they got help was about me. Whether they changed was about me. Whether they thought they got value was about me. It was all about me. And that's one of the reasons we're on this planet is to learn to not make things all about us. It's really powerful when we can get there. And so that, if you'll take on that challenge, you're going to be amazing as a mentor.
I love that. And it makes a lot of sense to not let it be about me because I can see that. I can see that I'm doing that because I need that validation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. That's why I say that. That's why I say that I gotta get the words out. That self-sabotage is your subconscious trickery. A lot of S's in there. That's what self-sabotage is the trickery of your subconscious. There, I got it. And that's why is because your subconscious is going to hold on to the need for validation, because your subconscious does not behave off of what is true or what is good for you. Your subconscious behaves off of validated programs. And that's why I am a subconscious program coach. I am a body language coach. I am somebody who is a ninja for your amazingness. See, you can be the kind of coach that you choose to be. And that's who I am. And I'm dang good at it. And I couldn't say that 15 years ago. Holy cow. To be able to help somebody took me days of preparation and work to just help them with one little thing. But it was because it was all about me. So disconnect you, get out of those supposed tos, get out of the shoulds and the, oh my gosh, I've got to do this kind of talk in your head so that you can access more amazingness. And now your subconscious gets on board with you because you teach it what you need. Your subconscious only does what it's been programmed to do.
Awesome. Thank you. This was amazing.
You're welcome. You learned something?
I did.
Awesome.
I
Well,
did.
I hope you will choose one of those phone calls with me, Brenda, because I would love to talk to you further.
Okay.
You've got some cool things you're doing. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for being here today. Awesome. Oh, thank you for writing that down, Brian. Self-sabotage is the trickery of the subconscious. Thank you. I need to write that one down too. Oh, it won't let me copy it. So be it. All right, you guys, I want to know in the chat, what did you, well, Lillian has, if you copy Lillian's comments in the chat, she's written everything down for us. But I want to hear from you in the chat. What is the thing you are going to take action on today? Because you are here, you learned something new. What action are you going to take because you were here today? So are you going to work on your list of the people that you're letting define your value? Are you going to work on your list of what you're carrying and how those steps lead toward your goal? Are you going to get clearer on your goal? Or maybe you're going to disconnect your value from your results. Or any of the other things that you wrote on your paper today. Because today was all about self-sabotage. All about self-sabotage. So I'm watching. I want to see 50 comments in the chat of what you are going to personally take away and work on today. The next one of these webinars, the next hot seat, we're going to be talking about relationship hiccups. That's going to be our theme in May. So watch for that, because this is going to be on May 3rd. That's going to be our next one. So watch for that. But so many times in our lives, we let ourselves be surrounded by detour signs. Instead of going towards our goal, we let ourselves go on lots of detours or feel like we're doing it wrong. Or this one that I got yesterday, I stopped at a rest stop on the way home from South Dakota yesterday. And this was the sign in the yard at the rest stop: beware of the poisonous snakes. And it was so tempting to read that sign and then not go down the path. But because I read the sign, but I made a choice instead of letting the sign choose for me. Okay, listen to those words. I read the sign, but then I made a choice myself. And the choice that I made, let's see if I can make this work. Here we go. The choice that I made was to still go down this path. And at the end of this path was a gorgeous view of the Missouri River. I would never have gotten there if I would have let the sign decide for me. So too many times in our life, we're letting the self-sabotage decide for us. No more. I don't want you letting the sabotage decide for you. I want you to get to choose. Because the way life works is when we become aware, we make a new choice and we try something new. Imperfect practice leads to growth, not perfection, not accidental. It's nothing like that. It is being aware. And I love helping people become aware. So if you want help, if you want to learn the skills of being more aware, come to Breakthrough Coaching. If you want to be able to upgrade your perspectives on a weekly basis, come to Breakthrough Coaching. If you want to be the creator in your life instead of just letting the life happen to you, come to Breakthrough Coaching. So if you want to know about Breakthrough Coaching, schedule a phone call with me. We've already gone over on this webinar today, and I thank you for staying with us so that we could learn from Brenda. But Breakthrough Coaching, I have special deals for anybody that joins Breakthrough Coaching today. And the biggest one is that normally I, oh shoot. Here, I have to cover part of this up because I have to show you it in pieces. So here's the thing, and I haven't done this in 2 years, you guys. In 2 years, I haven't done this. Normally, when people register for Breakthrough Coaching, they get our complete audio library. They get the bonus section in their member library where I've put some bonus trainings that you want to go watch. So one of them is on how to understand the difference between a reflected sense of value and an internal sense of value. So like I was talking about with you, we need to own our value. One of the things that keeps us from owning our value is when we're letting outside things decide our value instead of us deciding our value. So in that bonus section, there's a 2-hour training on how to tip your scales to internal value instead of reflected sense of value. And so then I also give one-on-one mentoring appointment with Anne. So that means you're getting to do group coaching, but you also get to meet with me over Zoom for an hour, just you and me. And so if you want my help personally, you get a one-on-one appointment with me. But what I haven't done in 3 years now, actually, the first 5 people to register for Breakthrough Coaching are going to get 3 mentoring appointments with me. 3 mentoring appointments. And so if you want to look at the Breakthrough Coaching program, here is the link where you can register for it. Or you book a call with me and we'll talk about it, okay? But if you want to look at the program, you can look at it here, 3ke.to/breakthrough. And then what do? What's your action step? Yep, Robert got it. You book a call with me. Book a call. Wayne put the link in the chat right there. It's 3ke.to/talk to Anne. I think I have a slide that says that. Right here. There you go. Book a call with me. And the first 5 people that register for Breakthrough Coaching are going to get 3 bonus appointments with me. 3. So if you ever thought you might like to have a personal mentor, you can use those 3 one-on-one appointments coupled with the group mentoring. Holy cow, you are going to learn how to manage your subconscious. I love it. Oh, I love all these things you guys are going to be doing. I'm going to contact Anne. Good job, Robert. I'm going to work on not feeling other people can define my value. Awesome. I'm going to use the woo on myself. Awesome. Also schedule a call. Good job, Brenda. My action is my value list and have conversations with others to get back my power of knowing my value. I love it. Millie, I would love it if you booked a call with me. I would love to talk to you. I would love to talk to all of you. I'm going to disconnect my value from my results. Good job, Matthew. I'm going to write conversations and say out loud to make space inside. Awesome, Sheree. Pay attention to my self-sabotage programming. Yes, Sheree. The sign's only trying to give awareness or even support for the trail ahead. It's not deciding whether I can go down it. Yep. Okay, the trickery, self-sabotage is the trickery of the subconscious. Yes. Okay, I love all of these, you guys. All right, if there's any questions about this offer or about this program or anything else, please, I'm going to stay on for a few minutes and I'll answer questions. But please, you guys, don't let your subconscious stop you from moving forward anymore. If you feel like booking a call and talking to me would be a good idea, do it. Don't let your subconscious talk you out of it. I'm really nice. I don't bite. I am not a snake. I do not bite. Okay. So book a phone call with me. And remember, if you want to talk sooner, just private message me and then we will talk sooner. Cool. All right. Raise your hand if you learned something today. Yay. Oh, I love that, Daniel. He says, thanks for all your time and light in the darkness. You make life fun. Yes, that's my goal. Make life fun. Make life fun. It can be fun. It totally can. All right, you guys, thank you for being here today. I can't wait to see you somewhere again soon. And I am excited for those who are going to join the Breakthrough Coaching. And the first 5, I am so excited to work with you one-on-one for 3 bonus appointments. I love it. And you are in my book of heroes. Oh, I love it, Lillian. Thanks, you guys. Have a fantastic Thursday and a fantastic weekend. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.